Well, good evening and welcome to our next Wednesday night live in the series. Or maybe some of you are just catching us on YouTube and you're not part of the series. Either way, really glad that you're with us. And so tonight, what we're going to talk about is the call to serve as Christian people. That is God's people, God's family. We are meant to be a serving people. It's really important for us to recognize that we are meant to serve, not in any way to earn anything with God, not to earn points or somehow to stay in His family or any of those things. We don't serve to stay in the family. We serve because we're in the family and because of what God has already done in and through and for us. And so one of the things I want us to know tonight is that when it comes to serving, and we'll talk about how to do that as we move forward, is we start off with recognizing we serve because Jesus served. We serve others because Jesus served us. The scripture says that the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give His life as a ransom for many. And so if Jesus gave His life in order to serve us and the world by giving His life, then we ought to probably take note of that and be people who serve as well. And so if our King serves, we as His subjects should serve, as His family, as His children should serve. But we also serve because serving changes our hearts and our lives in a way that very few other things can. When we start serving, something changes in us, in our hearts. When we start to care about the things that Jesus cares about, we're going to start to serve the people that He cares about. And so if we care about Jesus and His mission, then suddenly we're going to find ourselves serving. But the cool thing also happens is sometimes when we serve, it begins to create in us a heart for the mission. Is that sometimes the action of serving comes and then the heart follows. And that's a pretty cool thing that God does. And so we don't have to wait until we feel like it. Sometimes we just step into the opportunities that God gives us, and He begins to change us and change our hearts. And serving builds community. I absolutely believe this to be true. I've seen it too many times, whether it's a mission trip or a ministry in some area of the church or just some needs that happen and people end up serving at the same time in the same place. When we serve a united mission, when we're serving in that together, suddenly community begins. And I think a lot of people would say, their testimony would be, is that some of their closest friends and dearest people in their life are people that they have done life with and they've served with. And so it's really important for us to recognize that service can build community. And what I want you to see right now is one of our, a quick video of one of our current ministries, our meal ministry. And I want you to see, just to hear a little bit about it, but also listen for the community aspect of how we can do this together. So check this out.
So here is our meal ministry room, room 104. We are fully ready for a Friday night distribution. Our shelves are full. We have plenty of pastries and breads, vegetables. We do set limits on some items because we've been having somewhere between 70 and 90 families coming to the meal ministry on a Friday night. We do offer some various little medicines as we get those. This week we are really overloaded with the fruit that we had to extend out into the hallway. So there will be no one going hungry tonight.
And so another reason that we serve, and we're going to talk next week about giving, and they're kind of like right there together because they are giving of ourselves. But serving and giving are God-given antidotes to the sickness of selfishness. I want you to hear that again. Giving and serving are God-given antidotes to the soul level sickness of selfishness. That was a lot of S's. But really, serving does, it pulls us away from ourselves, and it pulls us out of our comfort zone, and it causes us or reminds us to be reminded that life, no matter what we sometimes think, is not centered around us. The universe doesn't spin around us. And one of the greatest things we can do to combat that gravitational pull towards selfishness is to serve other people, is to say no to self so that we can say yes to others, to give of ourselves and our time and our talents and our treasures. And again, we'll talk next week about the value of the heart level value even of giving. And we'll see that it's a lot more than just about money. It's about the heart. And so it allows us to become less selfish. Gale Sayers, the one-time great running back for the Chicago Bears, I don't know that it was unique to him, but I heard him say it first. He said that he had discovered the source of joy in life, and he says it's these three letters. He says it's Jesus first, it's others second, and yourself third. Jesus first, and if Jesus is first, we will find ourselves willing to serve others as he did. And then we'll take care of ourselves. And so I think there's some truth. There is joy in serving, especially when it's Jesus, others, and then ourselves. And service is also important because it strengthens the church body. Absolutely, is the body works best when the whole body works. And it's true that in every church, including this one, we have some work warriors. We have folks that if there were windows needed to be cleaned, they'd show up early. There are people who just have that genetic makeup, that spiritual DNA that makes it much easier for them to jump into a need. We need them and we honor them and we thank them. Some of you watching this video are among them. But just because serving comes easy for some doesn't mean that the rest of us are off the hook. Is that we're all called to serve. None of us are called to do everything, but all of us are called to do something. And when we're all doing that together as a church, as a body, the body benefits. The church is healthier. Not about recognition or spotlight or positioning like I did this and this and this. Are you as good as me? It's not that. It's never that. It's never supposed to be that. But when the body serves, when the whole body serves, the whole body gets better. And I believe that to be true. But serving is also a powerful witness in our culture, to our community and to our culture. When the culture sees us caring for one another, serving one another, whether it's shut-ins or the financial needs of others, or we come together when there's hurt or need, that makes a statement to the culture. But also when we together serve the community, when we serve the needs beyond our walls, that makes a statement to the community and to the people we're called to reach. When they see us committing ourselves to service, it makes a statement that we love them, but ultimately it helps kind of move them to the point of Jesus loves them. A quick meme that I created a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's true, just check this out, is that oftentimes we are the lens through which people will see Jesus. And so the question is, will they see a distorted view or a clearer view? And one of the ways for people to get a better, clearer view of Jesus is to see his people serving. Again, not for the props, not for the attaboys or the attagirls or anything like that, but rather because we love him. And because we love him, we love and are willing to serve one another and to serve those even outside our walls. And so there are a lot of ways that we can serve, and tonight I'm going to encourage you to talk about more of the specifics in your groups. And so I'm not trying to give a comprehensive list, but here's some things, some pointers, some keys. First is look for the needs around you and ask God for eyes to see. I've shared this before, but years and years ago, a gal at another church I had served, I had said something to the effect of, in a message saying, we should start asking God for opportunities to serve. God, give us opportunities to serve. And she said, I don't think I can pray that. I'm like, well, why is that? And she said, I find that my prayer is not God, give me opportunities, but give me eyes to see the opportunities you've already given. There are always ways to serve, always ways and opportunities. There's no one that's watching this video that doesn't have some way to serve someone else, because the opportunities are endless. But it might begin with asking God, give me eyes to see, a heart to care, a compassion that motivates me towards serving. And I think another big thing is again, then start with those opportunities and then see what God does. And so maybe the opportunity is jumping into a Friday evening to help with the meal ministry. And you may fall in love with it. And you're like, this is the thing. This is where I'm going to be serving for a while. Or you might find you're like, well, that's not necessarily the thing, but you get to find some other areas and some opportunities. Maybe it's in the kids ministry or the student ministry or something like that. You find sometimes we find what we're good at by finding what we're not good at, or what we don't enjoy as much, or what we're not as capable of. But when we step into the serve, when we step into that moment and take those opportunities that God has given us, we have a much greater chance of finding ways to meaningfully impact other people's lives. A buddy of mine last week, in fact, just talked to me, and he just said, hey, where can I serve? How can I get connected in serving? How can I start that process? And man, I've been thinking about it all week. Is the simple humility and of this friend to simply say, I know I want to. I know God calls me to. What's the step? Help me find something. And so ask in your small groups tonight. That'd be great. Talk in your groups of saying, where could we be serving as a group? Or where are some ways that we can serve in the church, and your group can help talk about that. Maybe ask me or ask another staff member, hey, what are some ways that I could give my time and my treasure and my talents to something? What can I do? Ask some people in your life, what am I good at? And maybe see that they could say, man, you've got some real teaching ability, or man, you're awesome with kids, or you're great with senior adults. Maybe some shut-in ministry there, or some nursing home visits, or whatever it might be. Is if we are willing to ask, we're probably going to start to find those avenues for service. And so really important ways, and I think hopefully those at least prompt us in the right direction. None of us can do everything, but all of us are called to do something. And remember, serving is not somehow about earning God's grace, it's responding to it. But we also need to remember that we're probably most like Jesus when we choose to serve like Jesus.